is sometimes when I would fight, right, I was in the Navy, right, so the ship would be out to sea like for a month at a time, and then I would try to schedule the fights to when we were supposed to pull back in. So say we pulled in like Friday, and I would fight that Sunday. Oh. But the only training was, whatever I did on the...
Man, that's intense. I mean, that's crazy, but I mean, I guess, I mean, at that time, I guess, I mean, were you kind of like used to, I mean, how long were you overseas? Like, let me ask you
15 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the language, you picked it up?
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, like, a lot of people, like, they could actually speak English, they just didn't want to, I guess you could say that. But if they really needed to talk to you, then they were able to say enough to get by.
Oh, okay.
And even at the gym, it was funny because, like, the Japanese guys, I'd be like, teach me Japanese. And they're like, no, teach me English. So it was like a one-way thing.
Yeah. Man, that's, I mean, I guess, I mean, maybe because they didn't want you to learn the language and be like a spy.
Yeah.
But, bro, I mean, we are live, my man. I mean, introduce yourself to everybody, bro, please.
Yeah, I'm Josh Robison. Everybody calls me Gunner. That was my fight name, so that's what I've been going by.
No, and of course, I mean, that had to do with the military life?
Yeah, so I was a gunner's mate, right? And so I worked on, like, all the weapon systems on all the ships and everything, so everybody would always, if they were, like, a different rate or had a different job, they'd always be like Gunner because they knew, like, you were the... So I just took that and ran with it.
You were like, man, that's it, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
And of course, man, I mean, we are here inside the HOJ training facility, man. I mean, this is actually a spot that you've been training at yourself, right?
Yeah. So I had went to a few other gyms, but, like, I wanted to find a gym that was more, like, family-oriented because I wanted to have the feeling, like, like it wasn't just all about money and all that stuff. Right. It was about, like, a brotherhood. So when I first met Jacob, we talked a little bit, and I said, like, yeah, I'll stop by. And when I came in, like, I was kind of out of shape, so I didn't want to, like, just jump into class and be like, yo, this guy sucks, So
who's this guy Gunner?
Yeah, so he was like, just go ahead and do what you want to do, and then when you feel comfortable to join, then you just join in the class, and so... Now I'm here.
That was it, man. And of course, man, I mean, there's a lot of stories I know I can pick out of you, man. But I mean, I'm going to pick one. I mean, just because I don't have all week, But bro, I mean, the other day we were talking, I mean, you were on your way out, but you were talking about having to know somebody out there, and it turned out he was a part of
the Yakuza?
Yes, bro. And can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So it actually turned out, I worked at one of the top clubs in Japan doing security, right? And there was these group of Japanese guys that, started trouble or whatever, and I got into it with them. And I didn't find out later, because my friend was friends with the guy, like the head guy, and he was like, yeah, that guy's Yakuza. I'm like, oh damn. And so he actually ended up coming to one of my fights. And then I met him there, and then, like, everything, the relationship kind of changed.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, he would have me do security for him. And so, like, in Japan, you have prefectures. It's kind of like counties, I guess you could say, like in the States. And so every prefecture has a boss, and that boss is, like, the head of that area.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So... And they would have meetings and stuff, so they'd shut down the area wherever they're at, and they'd have meetings. And so, like, every boss had, like, one security guy that would go with them. And so they would go into the building, and then the security guys would stay outside. And, like, if anything happened, then your job was to go in there and take care of stuff. So
that's simple, huh?
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, when you did find out, I mean, what happened? Now were you like, okay, let me?
Yeah, I was like, it was just weird because, like, when they first came into the club, I'm like, why are all these guys? Everybody standoffish from these guys, like, because you don't think, like, Japanese, you don't think anything about like that. You're like, oh, they're small guys, this, that, and that. So, and then when I found out, because like Yakuza, they never show their tattoos. Everything's always covered, so you never know, like, who is and who isn't. So. But it ended up being a good benefit too, because whenever I'd have fights, like, he would spend thousands of dollars, like, buying tickets for all of his people and stuff like that.
Damn.
So,
did they ever sponsor you, man? Can you say that?
Anyways,
next question. But man, let me ask you, bro. I mean, of course, I'm sure you experienced a lot, just being in the military. Mm-hmm. If you wouldn't have gone, I mean, where do you think you'd be right now, man?
In jail. Yeah.
And so, I mean, because I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, and I mean, it was just kind of one of the options you had to pick from. But I mean, would you say it worked out?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Like, it teaches you a lot of discipline and stuff. So, the thing is, like, you don't know how to like take orders from people and all this other stuff. And so it's good to learn discipline and respect and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure, and you gotta think, most people gotta think like you only have to do 4 years in the military and you get your GI Bill so you can go to school. So that's what a lot of people do.
No, definitely, man. Because I know, I mean, I deliver here, furniture here locally, man. And I run into a lot of military, and a lot of times, just in conversation, I mean, they're like, oh, I'm here, I'm doing their, I guess, what would they call the term as far as, cause they, every time you get a job, it's I don't know, it just slipped my mind. But I mean, they're here basically, they're training, of course, and they're already stationed here, so, but they're always telling me, no, it's that. So I said, man, what made you sign up, or what made you, and a lot of it is school, and that's one of the things, because, I mean, you never know when there's a war that's going to happen, man, and if you're in there, then, I mean, that's pretty much it, you're already in, so. But I mean, for the most part, man, I mean, a lot of people do sign up, to serve, go and fight for our country, of course, man. But I mean, having benefits like that definitely helps, especially on the way out.
Yep.
And now, I mean, after so many years, you are retired.
Yeah, so I did my 20 years, and now I'm just chillaxing.
Now you're just here, bro. You see, you get to just jump in here and talk. But yeah, man, I mean, of course, I mean, you have kids, you have a home. I mean, work is never going to end, to say the least. I mean, you're still out there. Yeah. But, I mean, for those out there listening, man, I mean, what would you tell them? I mean, what questions would you say, like, hey, make sure, why you're going to join? But, I mean, what questions, what would you tell them out there?
So the biggest thing that I learned, right, is, like, being in the military is good, not just because of that, but also, like, a lot of the military, they give you schooling already. So a lot of your schooling counts towards college credits. And so, like, when you get out, you already have some credits. It's good to save money, too, because a lot of times you're deployed or something like that, and so you get a chance to stack up your money. And then, even if you get out, like, if you don't do the whole 20 years of retirement, when you get out, you still have your VA benefits and stuff like that, so that helps out a lot. So make sure you document everything that happens to you.
No, and I was gonna bring that up because I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, I worked in the postal service, 15 years, and of course, a lot of military, veterans and just people that served and got out and started working. But yeah, that's one thing they would always say, man. It's like, man, it doesn't matter if it's irrelevant. Like, make sure somebody makes a note of it and keep tabs, because you can't go back and be like, oh, well, this happened on this day. Like, you got a paper trail.
And I can say this now since I'm retired, but so when I was active duty, I was still fighting, right? So if I got injured training or anything like that, I wouldn't go in that day. I'd wait till the next day.
Oh.
And I'd go into sick call and be like, oh, I hurt my leg doing this, but it was actually like from training. So
no, definitely, bro. But hey, man, I mean, they take care of you, and I'm sure the time that you put in, man. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
But man, I mean, as far as training, I mean, of course, you said you competed. How many times did you fight?
I have like over 20 some fights. So the crazy thing was, when I showed up to the gym, I was just doing basic stuff or whatever, and they were like, hey, do you want to fight? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I was doing like Amy fights, and then after I think I did like at least 12 amateur fights. Yeah. So it's a lot different than the States. In the States, they do like a few and then like
if any, because a lot of people just jump straight to pro, man. So that's crazy.
So when I got my pro card, and then a lot of stuff changed, the competition changed, so it was good. And then I did jiu-jitsu over there too. And it's funny because most of the jiu-jitsu is run by the Brazilians that are over there in Japan. So like every time they call my name, I'd never understand what they were saying, because like the R's are silent to them. So they'd be like, my last name is Robison, so they'd be like, Robison. I'm like, who's that? Yeah. You're
looking behind you, who they call it, man? Yeah. But bro, I mean, and that's another thing too, because I mean, like here in San Antonio, man, when I was training, I mean, it wasn't until like 2005 that we actually got a Brazilian. Sergio Maha, who's still here, man, of course, representing his school, and that was what kind of like where it started. And after that, it's like, now we got like quite a bit, bro. We got quite a bit of jiu-jitsu black belts out there. But yeah, man. I mean, it's, city's growing. I mean, for you, what was it that brought you to San Antonio?
So I have family in Fort Worth and in Houston, and I wanted to kind of be like in the center, you know. And then also I was looking at like cost of living and like good stuff for veterans and stuff like that. And San Antonio was like the best place. I mean, they do say it's the military city. So.
No, yeah, man. I mean, I know there's a few bases that have closed throughout the years, but yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot going on. And for some reason, man, for me, it's always San Antonio is always in the map, whether it's in the news, and of course, unfortunately, for some bad news, but it's just like, I mean, because it is a military city, man. I mean, there's a lot that happens. People are connected here. There's cousins here. They got there's a few UFC fighters or even UFC past fighters, veterans that have family here because of the military. So, they're connected, man. That's pretty cool, man. But I mean, of course, you got to San Antonio. How long have you been here?
So I've been here like almost a year now. So I'm still getting used. It's a big transition because I spent 15 years in Japan. So coming back to the States, it was a culture shock. Yeah, it's supposed to be the other way around. When you go overseas, it's a culture shock, but it was switched. So it was just getting used to the people and all that other stuff. And
you see, and I didn't know you were here. I thought you were here like a few years, man. So just a year. Wow. Okay. And I mean, as far as culture shock, I mean, what were some of the things that you were like, man? They do
so when I came here, right, we had been in Japan so long, we didn't have like any cars or anything like that. So the biggest thing is transportation. In Japan, you can get around anywhere. There's train stations every so many blocks. You just hop on the train and go. So that was the biggest thing, trying to get around. The traffic is really bad. Yeah. It's crazy because in Japan, right, say I was at a light and the light turned green, they're not going to honk their horn or anything. They're just going to wait until I go.
Oh, here now.
But here, they're like road rage.
Yeah, road still, the light's still red and they're still honking. Yeah. Like, man, what's going on? Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm a contract delivery driver, and every day, man, it's pointless because it's like people, like, I don't know, man. It's like they expect you to break the law just so they can get through or whatever, and I'm like, bro, go around me, man.
Just live life, man. You don't have to be
like,
a rush all the time.
That's what I always tell people. I said, man, what's a rush, bro? I mean, it's like I'm in no rush. I'm self-employed, so when I get there, I get there, man. But bro, I mean, as far as you served. I mean, you're here now. I mean, now that you have free time, I mean, this is what you. I mean, I know you're here, you're training, but I mean, what else do you do, man? What else do you do?
So pretty much like I needed to get some type of income, so I started doing like roadside assistance and stuff. And it wasn't just because of the job; it's because like I like to talk to different people. So every job that you get, you pretty much meet new people, and that's how I found out about the different gyms to go to and stuff. It was like, hey,
because you're driving around.
Like I'd be like, I'd pop somebody's locker or something like that, and they'd be like, hey, I see your ears. Like I trained at this gym you just stopped by. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But that, I mean, you meet a lot of people. I met like retired police that, retired military. It's funny because I went to this one retired guy's house, and I think he was Air Force, right? And I went there, and me and him started talking, and I told him like I was retired Navy, and he was like, you gotta leave. And I'm like, why? He's like, because my wife likes Navy guys.
Oh,
and she's like 70 or 80 years old. But he was joking with me. It was just funny.
Bro, I had because I do. I mean, the same thing for me, man. I'm all over the city. I get to meet business owners. I mean, that's kind of, I picked up a few sponsors, right? Because I deliver to these guys' houses. But a lot of times, I mean, it's just the backstory, I mean, it's one thing, like I tell people, when I deliver furniture and they let me inside the house, like the safety kind of drops, They're more like, hey, how's it going? And like yourself, man, I love talking to people. I'm nosy, so I'm like, hey, what do you do? I'm over here, but it's just in conversation, But the most part, man, I mean, I tell people this, and I even told my kids this at one point. I said, you know what? I wanted to travel the world. I said, God knew I couldn't, so He brought the world to me.
Right.
And it's true because I meet people from all over the world.
Yeah.
From Thailand, Brazil. I mean, of course, here, the guys teaching here, but just people that live here in general. And it's great, man. I mean, it's just different cultures. And a lot of times everybody's here in the U.S., in America, trying to make it, man. So it's just like, you know what, man? It's a good feeling, man. But I mean. Yeah, as far as culture shock, I don't know how I would do in Japan, bro. I'd probably die, But it's just, I mean, here we have the city bus, So it's just I know it's not the same as a train, but
no,
And I haven't been. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I was on one like a few months back, bro. I took my car to the shop. Instead of waiting, I said, man, I'm going to take the bus downtown. So I did. You know, I jumped on it, and it's just, walking around was cool, and I liked it, but I was like, man, where's my truck? You know, where's my vehicle, man?
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, as far as your kids here, I mean, of course, I mean, culture shock for them as well.
Yeah, definitely that. Because, like in Japan, when you go to school, it's all about learning. It's about respecting your elders and everything like that. And, like, here, like, not saying there's anything wrong with American kids, because my kids are American, but, like, you know, they don't listen. They're like, because, like, the first day my son was at school, he came home, he's like, Dad, what's wrong with these kids? I'm like, they're American kids. Like, that's how they are.
Yeah,
so it takes a lot to get used to.
When I mean, and a lot of it, of course, it's I want to say TV influence, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just the internet. I mean, media, social media, of course, man. You know, it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, as parents, and that's one thing I always tell people, man. It's just like myself. You know, if my kids screw up and it's something that I didn't teach them, then that's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna blame the system. I'm not gonna blame the schools. It's just something I didn't instill in them, and it's my fault.
And the safety thing is big too. Like in the States, you have to worry too much about your kids like being taken or somebody talk to them. Like in Japan, like you would see like, you know, kids is like 5 years old or whatever. They get on the train by themselves. They go to school by themselves.
You see, I saw that movie Rush Hour 2, man. I don't know that the little girl got. I think it was Rush Hour 2. The little girl got kidnapped, man. No, but you know what? That's true, man. Because even like growing up, I mean, I'm older. I mean, I grew up here in San Antonio, man. And at 7 years old, like my parents were like, "Oh yeah, you know, we took the bus downtown." And my dad's like, "When you get off, you cross the street, go to the movies.
Yeah.
When you're done, go across the street. The bus is right there." And at 7 years old, man, now like, you know, my youngest is 18, and I'm like, man, you know, I'll drop you off, I'll pick you up, because it's just, it's crazy, man. You just never know, you know. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they feel that safe, that's pretty cool, man.
And the age thing too, like you'd see like guys on the train like fishing and stuff like that. They'd like come back from fishing, and you'd be like, they look like they were like 50 or 60 years old, and you'd ask them like, "Hey man, how old are you?" And they'd be like 90 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy because the bad thing about the States, to me, is like the older people, they kind of give up on themselves. Like they're not as active and stuff.
Yeah.
In Japan, right, they would meet up in groups and stuff like that. They would do stretches together. They go on walks together and stuff like that just to stay active.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah. You see, I'll bring this up only because it's true and it sucks. But like in the postal service, man, like I used to work at the plant, and like we would see like, oh, so and so's retirement.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, bro, passed away, bro, heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, you know. And it's just, I tell people, man, because when you're a bit used to doing so much and you go home and do nothing, the heart gives up, man. And that's, definitely keep busy, because, you know, it's just sad, dude. I mean, it's a situation where it's like, you know what, dude, I mean, the guys are here, and I mean, the post office, man, it's, people don't retire, you know. Unfortunately, the saying back when was always like, to get a job there, you have to wait for somebody to retire or die.
Yeah.
You know, one of the two, man. And it's true, bro. Like, people don't, you know, I'm pretty sure it's the benefits and the pay. People don't want to leave, but it's just, it's unfortunate, man. It's just, you know, it's like, I don't want to be stuck working somewhere 40 years and then be gone 1 year and then that's it, you know. It's like, man, let me live a little.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, as far as training, I mean, you said earlier as far as fighting, but when did combat sports become your thing? Like, when did you start training?
So, the crazy thing was, before I even started doing any fighting or whatever, I had started doing jiu-jitsu, because I had like an anger management problem and I had to fix it before I got in big trouble. So I didn't want to get kicked out of the military. So I started going to Gracie in Florida, and they had this club, right, and they'd hold events, right, and if you fought in that event, then you get like a wristband and you could drink the rest of the night.
Oh, damn.
So I was like, I don't know shit about fighting, but you know.
Yeah, I want to drink for free.
So
you see, where in Florida was this?
This was in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I spent some, I mean, I lived out there in Sarasota, and I was just talking to a gentleman earlier. He was looking at the school today. But in Venice, you know, I lived in Venice for a while, and I was training with some guys out there, but it was different, but I liked it, man. It was just...
Yeah, it was good. So that was my first, like, starting jiu-jitsu, and that was, like, in, like, 2003, I think it was. A long time ago.
No, definitely, bro. And, of course, I mean, even now, I mean, back then, was it a Brazilian that was teaching this class, the school?
No, it was a white dude, but he had gotten his belt from one of the Gracie brothers, and they would come and do like seminars.
Yeah.
You know, they had to come visit their school because it was under their name. I remember that one time this 80-year-old black belt came, and he was doing a seminar, and everybody was just laughing, right? Because he's this, you know, skinny dude, and he was tapping everybody out.
You didn't know who that was?
No, I can't remember his name.
Oh man!
But he kept on doing this calf slicer and half guard, and he was catching everybody with it, and like it was just instant.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Like,
I used to catch people in those, man, and that thing sucked. I mean, even from like when I get caught, dude, that shit sucked, bro.
Yeah.
It was definitely not good.
So it was just crazy seeing somebody that old and like still being.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, man. You don't want to stop moving. You know, I know Helio Gracie. You know, may continue to rest in peace, man. The man passed away, and I mean, he was up there in age, man, but you know, he was still rolling. You know, he's still training with his kids, and so that was good, man. But I mean, as far as training, I mean, of course, you went in there for anger management problems.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is a good outlet, though. I mean, I always tell people, man, martial arts is an art form. I mean, you go out there, you express yourself. I mean, you don't have to be a fighter or want to compete in worlds. You know, you can definitely sign up and get a workout. You know.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, like, because they do have kids classes. I mean, have you put your kids?
My son is gonna start. He just had knee surgery.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. At 8 years old, so yeah.
Wow.
But it was a growth thing.
Was that from a chin check or
No, his meniscus in his knee was bigger than it was supposed to be.
Because of the growth spurt.
Yeah, so it was like every time he'd do it, it'd lock and pop. So he had to get it shaved down. But I told him, like, as soon as the doctor clears you.
Yeah, man. You see, and I was talking about that earlier, man, because my youngest, like, she had growing pains.
Yeah.
Like, she'd be crying, and we're like, man, and we took her to the doctor, and they're like, man, she's grown like 3 inches since last year. So we had to like rub her knees and her legs and just kind of like, you know, till she fall asleep. But yeah, man. I mean, how old is he right now?
8.
And how big were you when you were 8? Do you remember? I mean, can you?
I was. The thing is, like, I'm like one of the smallest people in my family.
Oh, damn.
So like 6'2", like 220, like I'm small.
Who's this compared to your brothers?
Like compared to my family, like my cousins and all that stuff. So if you see the family picture, I'm the guy that has to stand in the front. You know?
Damn, dude. And that comes from your dad's side of the family?
Yeah. So I was adopted by my grandparents when I was like 2 years old, right?
Okay.
So I still stayed in the family, but I was adopted. So I haven't done a blood test yet because everybody thinks I'm like Spanish or something like that. But like I'm used to being like white because my mom's white. So I'm like, yeah, I'm white. They're like, no, you're something else. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I just came from fishing, man.
Yeah.
It's a tan.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, the fact that your grandparents, you know, took you in and raised you, man. I mean, was that like your whole life, like throughout the years?
Yeah. So it was. So my dad was like, my dad / grandpa was single at the time when he took me in. So, I grew up with him, and then he got married, and then I had a stepmom, and then my grandma helped out and stuff like that. So it was good just being able to stay in the family, you know.
No, for sure, bro. And that's one of the things even here, man. I mean, they go through the system, and unfortunately, a lot of kids don't get picked up by family, and they, you know, it's always, I don't want to say dangerous, but it's just like, okay, you know what's gonna happen, and but that's good though, man. I mean, I know here, I mean, a lot of kids do go through the system, and normally I think that's the first thing they try to do is get you with family, because they're like, well, you know what, let's see where we can find a home for you. But yeah, man, but I mean, of course, let me ask you this. I mean, now that you're a parent and you have kids, I mean, is that something that you look back and you're like, okay, you know what, does that make you hug your kids a little bit tighter, man?
Yeah, I think it's just, the thing is, like, you always want to give your kids stuff that you didn't have growing up and stuff, so that's the biggest thing. Like, I've been married 19 years now.
Oh, wow.
That's, like, a lot of people,
I was going to say,
if you tell them that, they're like, what? That's not normal. I'm like, well, back in the old days, it's normal. So
no, for sure, man, because, you know, it's not funny to say, but it's like, I mean, you know, I have shirts longer than most people's relationships, bro. Like, a lot of, you know, it's just, and you know, I mean, I'll get out of subject, but, you know, I always think the reason for that is because, not so much there's more options, but because we give ourselves more options. It's just like like anything else, like, oh, what else is out there, or what else, you know. But
the social media is messed up.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, that's breaking up marriages. I mean, it's just a mess. But you know, I mean, it's just how people think. You know, have better morals and at least respect, because bro, you don't You know, it's like I would hate to be in that situation where I'm like this, you know, the one being cheated on or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro. It's just not good. But yeah, man. But congratulations on that. Dude. That's actually pretty impressive, man. Now let me ask you, bro. I mean, here in San Antonio, I mean, obviously you drive, you have a vehicle, but I mean, do you ever like being in Japan? I mean, is it like, man, let me jump on a train? I mean, have you commuted that way since you've been there?
No, I just don't. There's too many. So the crazy thing is too, like being in San Antonio, like the people are definitely different. So like in Japan, you don't have to worry about other people that much. They're not gonna do nothing to you. Like here, you never know. Like this guy over here could be having a bad day, and next thing you know, he's, you know. So I'd rather just stay like in my comfort zone.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm with you, man, because even, you know, here in San Antonio, I live on the west side of town, bro, and it's, even there, like, I go put gas in my car, like, I got to keep an eye out, because it's like, man, you know, it just sucks that, you know, we have to be like that, man, but...
And everybody has guns now.
No, yeah.
In Japan, it's not legal. You can't have a gun.
No, yeah, you see, and that's another thing, too, right, because you come here now, and you're like, okay, well, it's like the Wild West, bro.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it doesn't help that they allow, you know, people to be able to open carry. I mean, well, it's a good thing. I mean, I know we have a lot of gun owners out there, but and man, well, let me ask you, with a name like Gunner, man. So, I mean, do you have a gun?
Yeah, I got a few.
You see, and of course,
but I didn't get them until I got here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame you. But but I mean, of course, everything's legal, and you're registered and all that good stuff, man. But yeah, man. But I mean, martial arts, man. I mean, right now you're training, you're getting back in shape. You are teaching some classes, right?
Yeah. So, I'm teaching the MMA classes at lunchtime, and then I'm helping Jacob out with the night classes and stuff. It's good. It's good to have multiple people because you're not getting just one side. Like something he might do, you do the same thing, but you do it different.
Yeah.
So they're learning, like, you know, all around. The way certain people spar may be different or whatever, you know. It's just good to learn from a bunch of different people.
No, yeah, I mean, get different perspectives, different setups. I mean, that's always good.
He says that this is what I do in this situation, and then like I'm like, okay, this works, it does work, and this is also what I do. So they're getting more than just one thing they can do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
You see, and as far as your background, what would you say your background is? Stand up or ground game?
So the crazy thing is, ground jiu-jitsu has always been my thing, but I've knocked more people out.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see, and I was gonna ask because that also changes. I was talking to somebody the other day, and of course I could be, Muay Thai world champion 4-time, and I'm teaching MMA. So now I'm teaching the stand-up version of MMA compared to somebody who's been a jiu-jitsu champion, and they're kind of like, hey, well, this is how. So because of that, there's different perspectives. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't want to be like just one. You don't want to be just a jiu-jitsu guy with a little bit of stand-up, or just a stand-up guy with a little bit of jiu-jitsu. It needs to even. Everything needs to even out.
No, for sure, man. Especially, I mean, for those competing. I mean, of course, you want to get in a situation, you want to be able to react and defend and be able to counter and change the outcome. But man, fighting, bro. Can we see you? Can we see you in the cage next year?
Yes. So I told the gym like I need to at least fight a couple times in the States just because I haven't fought like actually in the States. So I'm probably next year.
Nice, bro. Well, you see,
I'll be finding somebody.
People, it's been years since people. I mean, I used to be in shape, man. So people were always asking me if I was a fighter. It hasn't happened in a while. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people, man. I said I don't fight, but I fight traffic, bro. Especially here, man. I do pretty good. I'm not undefeated, but just. But yeah, man. I mean, traffic is crazy. I mean, just and that's one thing I tell everybody because I'm delivering to like the outskirts of town, and there's neighborhoods like behind trees where I'm like, damn, dude, like everything's growing like super fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, San Antonio, man. I mean, like that. I tell everybody before you know it, man, we're gonna be stuck to new Braunfels. It's gonna be part of the same. Yeah. It keeps going out there, but yeah, man. But as far as the class, man, I mean, you say you teach in the new MMA.
Yeah.
And what hours? What time frame is that?
So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. We start at 11, and I don't do a lot. I just go over like basic, fundamentals.
Oh yeah.
Like teach them like different moves and stuff like that to use from like being stuck on the cage to ground to striking, stuff like that. So it's really good for like the newer people that are getting into it. So, And I try to give. I mean, I've been in enough fights. Like I pretty much know every situation that you're going to be in at that point. So, I'm just trying to give. I'm trying to share my knowledge.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, for those listening or watching, bro, I mean, the class, is it just for fighters or is this just for people that just want to learn?
Good. It's for people that want to learn too. I mean, you got to think we do cardio stuff too. Like, doing anything, from groundwork to boxing and like that, it's cardio. Everything's cardio.
No, yeah, because I mean, I'm here in the studio and I hear you guys upstairs, bro. And you guys are making a ruckus, man. Yeah. But of course, I mean, with that being said, man, I mean, that's perfect timing for those in the downtown area that, they're lunchtime or work nights, of course, So, yeah, if you guys are listening, stop by, man, definitely. Now, as far as training, bro, I mean, of course, the curriculum, it's an hour or 2 hours?
It's an hour. So, the good thing about lunch is if you do the MMA, like right after that's the jiu-jitsu classes too.
Yeah, that's right.
So, so even if, say, we worked on stand-up that time period, the next thing like you're working on ground, so it's a good transition.
And of course, Coach Jacob is the one leading that, right?
Yeah. So he's good. You can tell, like, if you've been to multiple gyms, like some people are just like, I'm going to teach you this, just do what you want to do. Like they don't really watch you to make sure you're doing it right. But he's really good at critiquing and making sure like people are doing the moves right and all that stuff, so they're not injuring themselves or injuring somebody else.
For sure, man. And I would assume too, man. I mean, the classes at lunch aren't that big, so it's kind of like a group private, maybe. Like you get more.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like one-on-one. It's a lot better too. Like especially if you're beginning or if you're just wanting to learn. Like it's good too because it's more like a one-on-one. Yeah. Like he has a chance to walk around and critique you.
No, you see, and that's one thing I always tell people to take advantage of, man. Because when the classes get too big, bro, and there's only one coaching, it's like, well, by the time they get to you, it's the next move, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I've trained myself back in the day, man, and of course, for me back then, I mean, conditioning was key. It was always like
cardio.
Yeah, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose from being tired, man. So that was always in the back of my head, but. I mean, cardio-wise, man. I mean, what do you personally do, like, to stay in shape, man? Like, to keep you.
So, truthfully, like, just doing these classes is enough cardio for me. When we do our other classes, like our pro training classes or whatever, I mean, we do a lot more cardio from circuit training to running. The other day, we were pushing Jacob's truck down the road and like sprinting back.
And that was from him running out of gas, right?
So
he was like, "Hey, we're gonna incorporate this."
Especially if people don't understand, like. They want to lose weight and stuff like that. They want to go to the gym and sit on the bike and ride it and stuff. You're not going to lose weight like that. You got to be active. And this stuff, it isn't a strain on your body. It's just you're moving. You're keeping the body active.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things, and I'm sure you would agree, man. The body gets used to the workouts, man. So if you plateau and you could stay on your bike for 5 years, it's not going to burn much more energy. But the fact that you guys are doing full body.
Yeah. And you gotta think jiu-jitsu too, like you're working other body parts that you wouldn't normally use by like lifting weights and stuff like that.
No, for sure, man.
So everything's getting a workout.
No, you see, I would agree, man. Now, of course, man, I mean, like I said, it's gonna be the lunch class and then you sit in the evenings also, you're jumping in?
Yeah, so it's kinda like I'm not teaching, but I'm like assisting Jacob,
right,
and like the other coaches and stuff like that. Because, like I said, it's always good to have somebody from the outside come in and look. They're like, okay, like the guys, you can kind of critique the guys, like, okay, you're good at this, but you need to work on this, just like that. So
no, for sure.
We want to have all around. We want to have fighters that are well-rounded all around, like that.
No, plus it helps, like you said, even if it's a large evening class. I mean, there's two people there watching, so you can kind of get everybody.
Yeah, and I like to jump in there and like throw some punches.
Oh yeah, block, chin check. Yeah. No, bro. But man, as far as training, fighting, the worst injury you've had?
So actually, the worst injury I had was because I couldn't fight.
What was that?
So I had fought, right, and then they were trying to find an opponent for me. And they couldn't find an opponent. They said it would probably be like 2 months before they could find me an opponent. So they have American football in Japan. So I knew the coach, right? So the coach was like, hey, just come play football, until you get a fight. I'm like, bro, I haven't played football since high school. So I ended up playing American football over there for like their team.
Yeah.
And I was like 4 4 games in, and I tore my ACL.
Oh, damn, bro.
So that was my worst injury. Other than that, just fighting, broken everything.
Oh yeah,
Hands,
damages.
toes.
Well, you were talking about your nose, man.
Yeah, I had broken my nose so many times that one side it closed up, so I had to get that good old plastic surgery done.
Yeah, bro. What was it called?
Rhinoplasty.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I don't even like that name, man. But I can only imagine, man. Like I said, dude. I mean, I suffer from allergies, and I've got scar tissue in there. Like I don't even want to mess with it, bro. But eventually, maybe someday I will. But man, as far as like you mentioned earlier, I mean, of course, you know, you're here training. You go home. Are you a gamer? You big on games?
Yes.
What do you play?
So Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. And you're online, like streaming?
So the thing is, right, I still play with my friends in Japan.
Oh, nice.
So in the morning time, it's nighttime for them. So when they get off work, they're always writing me like, "Hey, get on the game." So I'll be playing with them. Yeah.
That's cool though, man. And I mean, you do keep up with everybody out there.
Yeah, like people. So I worked security at the clubs there. So I did security for a lot of athletes. People from the States. Like I done like security for Swiss Beats, Nas. I did it for Usain Bolt.
And was that because you were American? I mean, did that kind of help out?
Yeah, I mean it did because I was bigger too. But like that's where I learned. Because you got to think like when you do jiu-jitsu or any type of martial art, it kind of goes towards the security thing because you know how to control people and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that.
It was crazy. I did security for Usher when he was there too, and it was crazy because him and his manager came in, right, and then he had stopped us and he was like, "You guys go ahead and go," because it's like a little tunnel that you walk through for get to the main thing, and he told us to go ahead and go, so we stood at the end and like he danced from the entrance. To the end of it, He's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go in now."
And then when you were doing this, of course, they said like no photos, no autographs. It was just.
Yeah, I still took photos. They didn't care about photos.
Okay. I was gonna say because you're working, so I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's crazy too because like we had to wear like black suits and stuff, so it was like
security, like the real deal. Yeah. You weren't a bouncer, man.
Yeah, it wasn't none of this like, "Hey, I got this security shirt on." Like,
no offense to people that went. No, but yeah, man. I mean, that was a bigger it's a celebrity, man. So yeah, we definitely.
Yeah.
But as far as the suit, man, I mean, were you comfortable wearing that, knowing?
Yeah, so I actually made some changes. So it used to we had to wear a suit and tie, and I tried to explain to like the guy head of the security team like you shouldn't wear a tie because they can choke you, pull it, anything like that. So after I told him that, he was like, okay. So we had to stop wearing ties. So that was probably the most uncomfortable.
I was gonna say you didn't show up with the bow tie. You're like, damn, man. No, but that's cool, man. I mean, and of course, I mean, being military, was that part of that, or did you do special training for that?
No, so the military was kind of, how do you say it? So I think how I made it through the military as long as I did, and it didn't bother me like it bothers a lot of people, is I didn't treat it as a life, I treated it as a job, just like you go to job and go to work. So after it was over, like I didn't let the things bother me, I just went ahead and
I thought about that.
Went through instead of thinking about, man, I got to go to work, this happened to work, this happened to work. So I never brought like work to home.
You see, sometimes that's hard, but bro, it's just, I mean, it makes sense, man, because I mean, it's just like clocking in, clocking out. I mean, of course, military is the same thing, right? You have to go to work and.
Yeah.
But as far as schooling, I mean, what all did you take advantage of?
So I did. So my main job was I was a missile tech, right? So all the ships that had like missile launchers on it, that was my job to take care of that. And then after that, then I ended up being in charge of like all the weapon systems on the ship. So from the guns, the small guns to the big guns to the missiles to all that stuff. So there's a lot of schooling from that transitioned to like college credits. When I got to San Antonio, I took like I was always telling myself like, what do I want to do like in my spare time? I'm like, well, I kind of want to do like fabrication and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I used a part of my GI Bill and I took like a welding school and stuff like that. So I want to kind of like learn a little bit of everything,
No, you see, and that's my youngest. Her mindset, like in high school, she was like, "Dad, I want to learn mechanics. I want to learn how to work." Like she wanted to do a little bit of everything. So when she went to the service, she knew like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And she didn't go to the service, but yeah, man. But you know what? Even now, like I tell her, I'm like, you got to do something, man. You can't just stay home and work. I said because I don't know. It's one of those things, bro. Like I mean, I was a postal employee for years, and like a lot of people, I just, I saved money, I have my retirement, I pulled my retirement, should I say. But a lot of people don't, man. They just spend it, and then by the time they retire, it's like now you got to work, and it's not good.
You don't want to work when you're like 50, 60 years old. You want
no. You see, and if you do, you want it to be minimal, man. Cause, I mean, I don't plan on working hard that many more years, bro. I'm ready.
I'm not even that old, and I'm still like, I just kind of want to do a little bit,
Right. Let me do this. This can right here. No, you see, and that's. I mean, for me, it's the same way, man. I mean, I deliver furniture, and I mean, there's times where I surprise myself because I'm like, damn, how the hell did I do that, man? It's just it's crazy, bro. But it's not rocket science, man. But my thing with customers, it's like they're like, oh yeah, it's first floor. And I get there, and it's like down, sub-level, and then I gotta go up the other stairs, and it's literally like where I can see it. It is first floor, but it's like a freaking maze, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, bro, come on, man, like it's just crazy, man. But I've had so many. I already know some of the questions to ask because it's just I get there and it's like, like a manufactured home, the door's smaller, they don't understand that, the ceiling's shorter, and I'm like, man, sofa ain't gonna fit. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. But
you gotta take the door off.
You see, well, and even then, I mean, 30-inch compared to like a 32-inch frame.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean a lot. I know even if I take the door off, it ain't gonna budge, or some sofas, But yeah, man, it's just it's crazy, man. But man, I mean, as far as what can you see yourself doing, say 10 years from now, man? What's your goal?
Still training, hopefully. Yeah.
Be that 80-year-old guy still doing jiu-jitsu or
tapping his 20 years old out. Yeah. So mainly that. I still want to travel. So I think when my kids are like out of the house, then I'm probably gonna end up buying like a motorhome.
Bro.
And just take me and my wife just go travel and see stuff.
That was my goal a few years ago. I was like, man, I'm just gonna buy like an RV. And just go state to state and see where it takes me, man. I mean,
there's an RV park in every state.
Yeah, it's Walmart, bro. 24 hours, bro. Unless they throw you out, but yeah, man. I mean, that's why not, bro? Especially you're retired. I mean, the wife's gonna retire in a few years.
Yeah, so
you're like that's your retirement. Yeah. Go to the beach. Why not?
Yeah, I like the beaches.
And then I mean, of course, you said family was close to here, as far as in Texas. I mean, is there anywhere else you're thinking about moving to, man? Or maybe...
So the crazy thing was, this wasn't even our first choice.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, our first choice was we were going to move to Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So because, like, at that time, the cost of living was down. You didn't really have to have... I could have lived off my retirement there and been good. But then, like, when COVID and all that stuff hit, then, like, the cost of living went up. It was harder to get small jobs,
Yeah.
Pretty much you had to be like a at-home online type of job.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to just like sit at the table and be like, do this all day, so.
No, for sure, man. And that's another thing I was going to ask you, man. I mean, would working from home work for you? I mean, even now, like, I mean, if somebody were to offer you, like, hey, we'll give you some amount and, you got to stay home. Well, not stay home, but get on your laptop.
I don't think I could just sit somewhere, like, I gotta be moving somewhere, doing something.
No, I agree, man. Yeah. I mean, I was at the, I covered a fight. I mean, of course, one of the guys from here fought in Puerto La Vaca. First time I've been out there, man. I mean, it was nice. I liked it, the view. And we were sitting at this restaurant with the big old pier, and we're just chilling. And I'm thinking, man, like, I need to get a job where I can just go with it. I wouldn't, not so much be there 8 hours a day, but just be able to go and do something. Go to jump in the water or whatever the case. But someday.
Yeah, I do a lot of fishing too.
Have you been here?
Yeah, I go like 3 times a week.
Where to? You don't want to see your spots, bro. You're good.
Yeah, there's the 2. Like Bernie has a lake there too, and then I forgot the other lake I go to.
Just the one I say that's where you
they're
catch
like
good stuff, bro.
45 minutes away.
Okay, yeah, because I know from here, like Brown Lake Lake is up 37 south.
Yeah,
and a lot of people go out there. I mean, it's not bad. We used to go out there as a kid.
Yeah.
Calaveras Lake. I don't know if you know where that's at, but that's another good spot. But at least back then, I don't even know those.
Yeah, I think that's the name of it.
Yeah, because that was, man, like, this is before, when we were growing up, my uncle, man, he used to go get in his boat. We'd go out there, he just threw net all day, bro.
Yeah,
just catching, and of course they made that illegal now, because just probably catching all the fish. But yeah, bro, like, he used to go home, gut them, sell them. I mean, we'd get there, like, Saturday evening, and he'd have, like, a freaking line of cars just lined up waiting for him, man. But Good times, dude. I enjoyed it, man. I mean, of course, you know, that's probably where my love for water came. I actually almost drowned twice as a kid, man. And, you know, but for some reason I love the water, man.
Yeah, I like going because it's been so long since I've seen a lake. Because there's every place. I'm in the Navy, so there's oceans everywhere. There's no lakes.
No, it's just the river walk down the street, bro. But I don't think you don't want to catch anything.
Yeah,
You'll probably catch COVID again.
Yeah.
But man, when you came to San Antonio, I mean, when you guys first moved here, did you come visit first?
No.
It was just like, all right.
Yeah.
Then I mean, of course, what was the first thing you saw when you saw San Antonio? Was it the Alamo? What stood out?
Yeah, we went to the Riverwalk first because everybody was like, "Oh, go to the Riverwalk, go to the Riverwalk," and so we went there. The good thing is in San Antonio, there's a lot of like stuff to do though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The amusement parks, all that stuff.
Festivals. I mean, every part of town has their own.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to.
I think we went to like the first month we were here. We went to like 2 different festivals.
Yeah.
And it's just good. The food's good. The food's definitely good.
Oh yeah, too good, man. You know, you want to keep eating, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, my kids when they were little, we used to crash fairs, bro. Like I'll tell you this story. Like one time, we went to this one fair, and it was up by 10. I don't know what it was, but we saw like all these people, and they had like balloons. I was like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
So we went. We got off, and we're walking. We're jumping, and you know, my kids are going crazy. And it turned out to be a birthday party, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like we're there, and like so this lady is like, oh, you know, who's your who you related to? And I said, oh, I'm here with my kids.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, well, I'm so and so. This is my cousin's son's party. And I was like, oh, and I kind of looked at her like, I said, man, I had no clue. She was like, no, don't worry about it, man. You know, so the kids are having fun. But I was just like, damn, that was something.
That's the crazy thing about here too. Like just driving around, there's always something happening. Especially at night. Like I'll drive by and like there'll be like a little festival or like the food trucks and all that stuff. So
that's true.
There's always something.
And that's good. Like I was saying earlier, because of course Fiesta gets real big here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're right down the street from where it like starts off.
Yeah.
But not just that, but like every part of the city has something going on. So it's just like, man, you can change it up and.
Yeah.
You know, you don't feel comfortable downtown. I don't blame you. But you can go somewhere else where there's a little bit more security out there, man. But then, as far as I mean, with the kids, man, you guys like go all over the city. I mean, have you guys gone to like SeaWorld and?
We haven't done none of that stuff yet. Like so, like we've been looking for a house for the longest because all these people from out of state coming in.
They're buying it before they see them, bro.
It's crazy. So we bid on like 7 different houses and got outbid every time. People paying cash.
Yeah.
I think I'll feel more comfortable when we get a place to be able to just go out and just be chill, you know.
No, definitely, man. Because that's one thing here. Like, and that's another thing I hear, man. Because a lot of people they're buying older homes like in the city, and my first question is why.
Yeah.
But it's because there's no houses, man. They're like there's like a year wait like for these houses popping up, and you know all these apartments. That's why they're charging what they're charging because they can. You know, it's just everything's going up in price. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just if you're planning on moving here, man, we don't have no more houses.
Yeah.
Get an RV. You know?
Pretty much.
And you said that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Man. Sure. Maybe I'll get one and I'll sell my house man, if anybody wants to buy it. But yeah, man. I mean, myself, man. As far as my girl, we're thinking about moving to Seattle, man. She's from out there. And, you know, maybe in a few years. I mean, no rush. I ain't planning to leave. But man,
it rains a lot there.
Yeah, that's one thing I told her. I was like, man, I can't do shit. I have to get an indoor job, and I don't want to do that, man. But you know, it's you know, we're supposed to go visit and go check it out. I've never been to Seattle. You know, I mean, up in Florida, Atlanta. You know, we worked out there for a while, but Texas, to say the least, bro. But man, I mean, of course, I mean, for those listening, man, lunch class here at the HOJ. Of course, you're taking part in that. And of course, they can go to the website, check out the class schedules, and sign up. Now, as far as there is also a drop fee, right? Or you guys offer like a free class for those that want to try.
I think the first class that you come to is a free. You still have to sign a waiver, so anything happens. But even if you don't want to join the class, you can still come and watch and see what's going on. You know, you might find interest in one of the classes that you want to join.
Oh yeah, and of course too, man. I mean, they can Sunday they have open
open mat. So all gyms are invited on Sundays for open mat.
Yeah, you see, and I always tell people that's one of the best times to go. I mean, especially if you're training and you're coming from somewhere else. I mean, for for a beginner class, I wouldn't recommend it just because you know there's not going to be any structure.
Yeah,
but
you might not know who you're going up against.
Yeah, no, yeah. Look at the college. Look at the years, man. Look at the years. But yeah, man. But definitely, if you know, for those, and I always tell people, man. I mean, for those coming through the city, conventions. I mean, they're visiting family too because, like we said, this is military city, man. I mean, for those coming by, you know, hit up the House of Jiu-Jitsu page, man. Hit them up. You know, let them know you're in town visiting and jump in.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Jacob will help you accommodate whatever you need.
And of course, man, and I always tell people this, bro, because for those that haven't been here, I mean, this place is nice.
It's big.
You know, it's like I tell people, I try to stay here as long as possible until Jacob tells me to leave. But you know, the lobby from you got family. You know, they can sit out there and chill.
Yeah, watch TV.
And of course, the layout. You know, there's so much mat space and upstairs for the striking.
That was the big thing because like. In Japan, all the gyms are so small, right?
Yeah.
They're really small. So when I walked in here, I'm like, oh, okay, it's got a lobby. And then when I go through the doors, I'm like...
Yeah, same here, man. When he first showed me the building, I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, bro, it's double doors out there. Damn. I said, if I would have known, I would have parked my car inside, man.
Yeah,
but
it's big.
But, man, bro, I appreciate you jumping on this. I know we fumbled a little bit, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
But of course, man, I mean, well, thank you for jumping on. You know, everybody else, I mean, sPidA here, the Fight Card Podcast. Till next time, follow up. And give me a few seconds, it'll jump me off. But, yeah, bro, let me just cut off. And I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I know, you know, you guys are busy and doing everything else, but anytime you guys can jump on this.
I'm doing this for you. I'm not